In New York City today, Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy held an unofficial meeting with a group of prominent Negroes. His purpose was to obtain their views on combating racial discrimination in the North. In a recent interview, the Attorney General was asked why the civil rights movement had risen to the forefront of national attention this year.
Well, I think it's been a long time coming. I think it's years of suppression, abuse, being treated as second-class citizens and being subject to injustices. During that same period of time, in fact, the communications are so much different now than it used to be in the past. Television, this media, as well as newspapers, points out to the Negro what his secondary role has been. This plus his education and years of suppression has led to this revolt that is taking place at the present time. It was bound to come. It's just a question when it would come.
He was asked what part the government had played in promoting action by civil rights groups.
I don't think the government plays any part in bringing it to a head. We've been trying to deal with the injustices that have existed and to enforce the laws on the books dealing with voting, schools, other matters. But as far as bringing about the situation that exists at the present time, the demonstrations that have occurred, some of the disorders that have been created in some of the cities, all of these clashes that have taken place, we have had no role. We've tried, when it's come to a head, to try to establish some communication between races in the various communities. In some cities we've been successful, and others we have not been successful, and there's still great problems.
Finally, Mr. Kennedy was asked to assess what degree of communication had been reached between whites and Negroes in recent months.
I think it varies. I think that the situation now is better than it was several months ago on a national level. But I think that at the local level, in some communities, there's absolutely no communication whatsoever. Negroes refuse to talk to whites, or whites are refusing to talk to Negroes. I think that's one problem. And then I think in other communities, the Negro leadership has not been what it might be, and therefore communication is broken down. And other cities, the political leadership of the whites has led those leaders to feel that they either cannot afford or it's not politically wise for them to talk to Negroes, communicate with Negroes, and therefore communication is broken down. So I think it varies across the country. In my judgment, communication, a real dialogue, a meaningful dialogue between the races is what's going to achieve an answer to this problem in the long run. And I don't mean just the southern cities, northern communities as well. Northern communities, frequently there's discussion, but there's a complete lack of understanding, and there's not an effort to understand, which I think frequently both sides are at fault. But I think in the last analysis it depends on a real effort by everybody to have tolerance and understanding and to try to talk and understand the other person's point of view.